When I was 16, my friends Lucas and Ryan suggested we rent a room for the night at Elmwood Inn during spring break. As soon as we arrived, the place gave off an unsettling vibe. A mix of dampness and decay hung in the air, but we tried to ignore it and checked in anyway. It was around 3 p.m. when we settled into our room, and we decided to hit the pool. The pool was in a separate building behind the hotel, connected by a long, dimly lit hallway. As we made our way to the pool entrance, a tall figure, easily 6 feet 5 inches, stood under the flickering light at the end of the hallway. He was dressed in all black, with a hood that hid his face in shadow. A chill ran down my spine, but I kept it to myself. We finally reached the pool, relieved to be away from the strange man, and swam for a few hours. But as I glanced toward the pool's edge, there he was again, sitting on a chair, motionless, staring at us with what felt like eyes piercing through the darkness. Feeling uneasy, I tried to break the tension. "Excuse me, sir, is everything all right?" My voice echoed in the empty pool area, but there was no response. My anxiety grew as I noticed something else. Another figure, identical to the man on the chair, was lying at the bottom of the pool, its dark shape barely visible in the water. I gasped and screamed, bolting for the door. My heart raced as I looked back. Both figures had disappeared as if they were never there. Lucas and Ryan shrugged it off, thinking I was just paranoid, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Disturbed, I suggested we grab dinner at a nearby diner, hoping to clear my head. As we sat down at a booth, my heart sank. There across the room was the same hooded man, sitting at a table in the far corner, his face still hidden in shadow. This time, I couldn't ignore it. I stood up to confront him, but as I approached, the lights above flickered, and in an instant, he was gone. The chair he had been sitting on was now empty, as if he had never been there. Determined to leave this nightmare behind, I insisted we check out the next morning. However, Lucas and Ryan were more annoyed than scared, and they wanted to stay. That night, as the clock struck 10:30, we finally fell asleep. But it didn't last long. I was jolted awake by a faint scratching noise. As I opened my eyes, I saw a dark figure standing at the foot of my bed. My heart pounded, but I convinced myself it was just my jacket hanging from the bedpost. But the scratching continued, now louder, coming from under the bed. My throat tightened as I reached down to grab my water bottle, but instead my hand touched something cold and hard, my jacket, the one I thought I had seen hanging at the foot of the bed. Panic surged through me, and then I heard it, a deep, raspy whisper right next to my ear. "You'll never leave." I screamed, leaping out of bed, only to be confronted by two figures in black, their faces still obscured. They lunged at me, and I tried to fight back. But it was useless. One of them covered my mouth, muffling my cries for help, while the other dragged me out of the room. The hallway lights flickered wildly as they pulled me toward the end, where darkness seemed to swallow everything. I struggled, but their grip was ironclad. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was on a stretcher, my body aching. The doctors told me I'd been found in a nearby alley, covered in cuts and bruises. They said someone had tried to help me, but the assailants had vanished without a trace, leaving only the lingering scent of decay. To this day, I can't sleep without a light on. The darkness is no longer a refuge. It's a reminder that they're still out there, watching, waiting for the next chance to drag me back into the shadows.